So Angel Reese is officially out of Unrivaled. She will not be playing this year, and that is not a good thing for the league. Like, Angel Reese is no question about it, because or the biggest name in Unrivaled Season 1, because you could argue whatever you want about Sabrina.
Okay, so Angel Reese just confirmed she's out of Unrivaled, and this is way bigger than just one player sitting out. Because here's what nobody's talking about when the biggest star in your league walks away. That's not a player problem, that's a league problem. And what's wild is how this whole thing unraveled, because Unrivaled just announced their final roster additions, and you're not gonna believe who they got to replace the face of their entire league. But before we get into that disaster, you gotta understand why Angel Reese leaving is basically a death sentence for Season 2's viewership. Most people think this is just about money, but there's something way deeper happening here that exposes how fragile this whole operation really is.
She was exceptional. Like, Angel Reese had a really good Unrivaled. Like, she made an all Unrivaled team, and deservedly made an all Unrivaled team, by the way. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that she wasn't really good. Especially at the end of it, like, she just has this weird ability to get into her opponent's heads and bring them into, drag them into a dogfight, which she's the best at.
Did you catch that? She's able to drag them into a dogfight, which she's the best at. That's not just analysis, that's the entire business model of Unrivaled Season 1. Angel Reese wasn't just playing basketball, she was creating drama, rivalries, and storylines that made people actually care about 3v3 basketball in Miami. And here's where it gets crazy. The league knew this. They watched the metrics. They saw that Angel Reese games pulled higher numbers. They understood she was the engine driving social media engagement. So when contract negotiations came around, you'd think they'd back up the Brinks truck, right? But hold up, there's something everyone missed about how these negotiations actually went down, and it reveals a massive miscalculation by Unrivaled's leadership.
Okay, so let's talk about Unrivaled. Last offseason, it was amazing. The viewers were up. Everybody was watching. We was getting paid. We was having a good time. We was in Miami. It was everything I could imagine. I think the best part of Unrivaled was two things. Me, one, being at peace of just being able to play basketball. We wasn't thinking about nothing else. It was straight up hoops. Like, nobody, it was nothing negative. Everything was positive. Everything was fun. It's like a breath of fresh air. Like, when you go play for a league that they love you and they want you to be there and they're honestly like for you, I think that's really important. And I haven't always experienced that. And that was the first time in my career in a very long time that I was able to have fun and just think about basketball.
Listen to how she describes that experience. Everything was positive, everything was fun. It's like a breath of fresh air. Angel Reese loved Unrivaled. She genuinely enjoyed being there. This wasn't a player looking for an excuse to bail this. This was someone who found exactly what she wanted in a basketball league. And then she walked away anyway. You know what that tells you? The money gap was massive, like embarrassingly massive. Because when someone says this was the first time in my career I was able to have fun and just think about basketball, and then doesn't come back, that means the offer was so low it felt disrespectful. And get this, while Angel's walking away, Unrivaled is out here expanding rosters, adding more players, which means they're spreading the same money across more people. The math isn't mathing.
Like, it's one of those things where she's actually, especially in a 3-on-3 setting where it's a lot of one-on-one, it's a lot of you versus me, she's actually really effing good in that scenario. I thought she would have done really well in the 1v1 competition, and she's not in the league, especially as someone who is the biggest star in the league, who is the biggest star, and not being in the league is going to hurt the league.
She's the biggest star, and not being in the league is going to hurt the league. It's absolutely going to hurt everything about Unrivaled. Even the analysts covering this can't sugarcoat it. But here's the kicker: Unrivaled had to know this would happen. They're not stupid. They've got smart people running this operation. So why would they let their biggest draw walk? Two possibilities, and both of them are bad. Either they couldn't afford to pay her what she's worth, which means the financial model is broken, or they thought they could replace her star power with other players, which means they fundamentally misunderstand their own product. And based on who they just announced as their final roster additions, I'm leaning toward option 2 being the disaster we're watching unfold in real time.
At least heading into season 2. We know you all were eager to learn who would be joining us this year, and we wanted to give you as much information as possible ahead of more big news tomorrow in Philly. A few of the players we're in productive negotiations with just need a little extra time, and we're all about giving our athletes the space to make big decisions on their own terms. That means we've still got 2 roster spots. Hold the phone, folks. 2 roster spots. Let me tease some fans. We can't wait to share who will be filling them soon. Thank you for all the continued enthusiasm and support for Unrivaled and our amazing players. It's what makes this league so special. Now, this was put out a few weeks ago, right? This was put out a few weeks ago, and it re-drummed up the whole Unrivaled conversation. Oh, who are the final 2 roster spots? Oh, wow, they're putting out a statement for these final 2 roster spots. Oh, wow, it might be a big deal.
Okay, but listen to this energy. Nobody. They got nobody who's going to make anybody watch. Oh, goodness gracious, it's bad news, Bears. That's not just commentary. That's someone watching a league realize they've got a massive star power problem. Because check out who Unrivaled announced as their final 3 roster spots. Arik McDonald, Rebecca Allen, and Dominique Malonga. Now, are these good basketball players? Absolutely. Dominique Malonga is legitimately talented.
She was like a player that you wanted to watch playing Unrivaled, and it was not necessarily is her game the most exciting thing in the world, but it's not. But like, she's someone that is able to, and this is nothing to do with people are like, oh, you know, she's kind of living off Caitlin Clark, but like, she's someone who's able to pretty much attach her name to players as a rival, even players she is maybe not as good as, maybe she's more popular than all these players, but like, she's able to make herself a rival for Fee, a rival for AT.
She's someone who's able to attach her name, make herself a rival for Fee, a rival for Aja, and she gives as good as she gets. This is the part that Unrivaled's leadership completely missed. Angel Reese had this unique ability to elevate every game she was in, not because she's the most skilled player on the court, but because she made everything feel like it mattered. She created stakes. When Angel Reese played against Fee, it felt like a rivalry. When she went at Aja's team, you wanted to watch. That's not a skill set you can just replace by adding 3 more rotation players to your roster. But here's what's wild. This isn't even just about Angel. Let's talk about who else said no to Unrivaled Season 2, because once you see the full picture, you'll understand why this league might be in serious trouble.
That's my point. No Asia, no Sabrina, no Angel, no Caitlin. Oh, goodness gracious. This might be a hard watch this season. No Sabrina. She was there last year. No Sabrina this year. Oh, no. Or is Angel Reese? No Angel Reese. Angel Reese probably asked for a bag. She probably stood on Riley. She probably walked in there, put it in the briefcase. And Riley was like, Angel, we don't got enough money to put it in that briefcase. That's a big briefcase. We don't got enough money for that. Oh, man. Oh, man. Let's listen to what Angel Reese said about Unrivaled on her Unapologetically Angel podcast.
Okay, so let's talk about Unrivaled.
Did you catch that list? No Asia Wilson, no Sabrina Ionescu, no Angel Reese, no Caitlin Clark. The 4 biggest names in women's basketball right now, and exactly 0 of them are playing in Unrivaled Season 2. Now, Caitlin never committed, so that's not surprising. But Asia? She was rumored to be in talks. Sabrina played last year and got a sweetheart deal where she showed up for like 10 games, collected a bag, and bounced. Why wouldn't she run that back? And Angel loved it there. So what happened? Here's what nobody's connecting. This isn't 4 separate decisions. This is a pattern, and the pattern reveals something crucial about how Unrivaled is valued by the actual star players. They're looking at the offer, looking at their other options, and saying, nah, I'm good. which means either the money isn't competitive with overseas leagues, or the time commitment isn't worth the exposure, or both.
Like, she can absolutely, on any given game, she can outplay the best player on her opposing teams. And that's something, there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that in a lot of ways. But she's just not going to be there. And Unrivaled, they're going to have to like lean on the star power of Fee. I mean, I get it. Like I think Fee is a big player, but like I'm not going to go in my way to watch Fee play.
On any given game, she can outplay the best player on her opposing teams. That competitive edge is exactly what made Unrivaled Season 1 watchable. But now listen to what he says next about who's left. I'm not going to go and watch Fee play. I think Paige Bookers is someone who absolutely is going to be the star of this league, but we saw from the Wings games last year, Paige isn't a needle mover in terms of viewership. Okay, so let's break down what that actually means for Unrivaled's business model. They're banking on Paige Bookers being the face of Season 2. Paige is incredibly talented, probably the most skilled pure basketball player in the league. But here's the brutal truth. Skill doesn't always equal viewership. Angel Reese wasn't the best player in Unrivaled, she probably wasn't top 5 in pure basketball ability, but she was the most watchable, and in a league that lives or dies on streaming numbers and social media engagement, watchable beats skilled every single time.
They couldn't hold a candle to Angel Reese. Angel Reese said, if I'm the face of this league, y'all gotta pay me like it. Now pay me like it. And they said, but Angel, we don't got that dough. We extended rosters. We have more players coming in. We don't got that type of dough, Angel. Angel said, all right, bet. Close the briefcase. Walked out unhappy. We got no Asia Wilson. No, Asia said, wait, what y'all got going on over there? Oh yeah, I'm good.
Angel Reese was the face of Unrivaled last year. Yes, she was. Fee might be a founder and Stewie might be a co-founder, but they couldn't hold a candle to Angel Reese. And there it is. The founders of the league weren't the stars of the league. That's not a criticism of Fee or Stewie. They built something impressive. But building a league and being the draw of a league are two completely different things. And what's crazy is this creates a really awkward dynamic because now you've got a situation where the people running Unrivaled have to acknowledge that they need stars bigger than themselves to make this work, but they also can't afford to pay those stars what they're worth. It's like starting a restaurant and realizing you need Gordon Ramsay to show up every night, but you've only got Applebee's money in the budget. At some point, the math just doesn't work.
And that was mostly because of this number 5. But yeah, I think it's not a great look for Unrivaled, especially because it's going to cost them a bit of money to get it's going to cost them quite a bit of money to get Malonga out of her Fenner deal. I know they don't need to do that, but like surely if she's going to tear up a contract that was pre-organized, I'm working off the assumption that that was reorganized, that was organized already before she tore up that contract. If it isn't, Malonga is probably playing for free essentially in Unrivaled this year.
It's gonna cost them quite a bit of money to get Malonga out of her Fenner deal. So now Unrivaled is spending money to buy players out of international contracts, but they couldn't find the budget to keep Angel Reese? That's the part that doesn't make sense until you realize what's actually happening here. Unrivaled is operating like they're an established league with guaranteed revenue streams, but they're actually a startup that needs to prove viewership before they can command premium sponsorship dollars. And here's where the strategy falls apart. They're spending money on depth instead of star power. They're building a roster like they're trying to win a championship, when what they actually need is to win the attention war. Because in year 2 of a startup sports league, winning games means nothing if nobody's watching. And without Angel Reese, without Sabrina, without the names that make people click, they're basically asking fans to tune in for good basketball. Which, let's be real, is not why people watch Season 1.
Asia Wilson said, oh, Unrivaled, what y'all got going on over there? Oh yeah, I'm good on that, man. I'll continue to try to get better playing basketball. Excuse me. Oh, y'all just hanging out in Miami? Yeah, I go to Miami frequently. I don't need to go to Unrivaled. I don't need to play on Unrivaled to go to Miami. All right, say no more. Say no more. Sabrina Ionescu. So I'm actually surprised Sabrina didn't do it. She got a sweet deal last year. What she played, like 10 games, if that. Stuck up the joint for $1 million. Came and went. Yeah. Here's my schedule, and I'll show up when I show up, and you'll take it. I'm surprised Sabrina didn't try to get another deal just like that. And then Caitlin Clark. We knew Caitlin Clark wasn't doing this. Come on. Come. Unrivaled. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I appreciate all of the support. Will you be watching Unrivaled? Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
Angel Reese knows that she is the face of Unrivaled. If I'm the face of this league, you gotta pay me like it. Pay me like it. And they said, Angel, we don't got that dough. This is the breaking point moment. Picture this negotiation. Angel Reese walks in, probably with her agent, and she's got all the leverage in the world. The metrics from season 1 back her up. Social media engagement, viewership numbers, press coverage. It all spikes when she's involved. So she puts a number on the table, and Unrivaled looks at their budget and realizes they can't make it work. Now here's what's fascinating about this from a business psychology perspective. Angel didn't even need to ask for an unreasonable amount. She just needed to ask for what she's actually worth to the league, and that number was apparently too high, which tells you everything about Unrivaled's financial reality. They're not operating with streaming deal money or major network money. They're operating on investment capital and hoping viewership justifies future revenue, but you can't build future revenue without current stars, and you can't afford current stars without current revenue. It's a catch-22 that's now playing out in real time.
Reese. No one's gonna hate watch Paige because Paige is good. Like, Paige is legit. And so is Angel Reese, but like there's the lowlights for Angel Reese. And there's at least rivalries. Like on any given game, Angel Reese could out-duel Fee and come off the court doing the hootie hoo. And then on the next game, Fee could get hers back on Angel Reese and like go at Angel and after the game, and it would be something that people are going to talk about. Like, I don't even know what stories there can be out of Unrivaled now. Like, even Dejanay, who her and Satu basically had to fight each other in the 1v1 last year.
Even if it is hate watching, you're still going to hate watch Angel Reese. No one's going to hate watch Paige. Paige is good, like Paige is legit. And this right here is the psychological insight that Unrivaled missed. Love her or hate her, Angel Reese made you feel something. She created emotional investment. Some people tuned in to root for her. Some people tuned in hoping to see her lose. But everybody tuned in. That's the secret sauce of sports entertainment. It's not about being universally loved, it's about being impossible to ignore. Paige Breckers is universally respected. She's got a smooth game, high basketball IQ, and nobody really has beef with her, which makes her great for the sport, but terrible for drama-driven viewership. And here's what's even crazier. Unrivaled is a 3v3 league, which means the basketball itself is kinda gimmicky. Without compelling personalities and rivalries, you're just watching a pickup game with better production value.
Here's my schedule, and I'll show up when I show up, and you'll take it. I'm surprised Sabrina didn't try to get another deal just like that. And then Caitlin Clark. We knew Caitlin Clark wasn't doing this. Come on. Come. Unrivaled. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I appreciate all of the support. Will you be watching Unrivaled? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I know there are a couple Fever Girls in there. AB's in there, I know. Lexi Hole's in there, I know. Aaron McDonald's in there, I know. But folks, whoa. And
the hierarchy of women's basketball in terms of names: first Caitlyn, second Angel, third, you're probably putting Sabrina, fourth Ajah. So Unrivaled has 0 of the top 2 names. Sabrina bailed after 1 season, and Ajah never committed. That means the most recognizable player in their league is... who exactly? Paige Breckers hasn't played a WNBA game yet. Fee and Stewie are established stars, but they're not social media phenoms. Kelsey Plum has a following, but it's not mainstream. And this is where the whole operation starts to feel like a house of cards, because Unrivaled's entire pitch was we're the premier offseason destination for the best players in the world. But if the best players in the world are saying no, then what are you actually selling? You're selling good basketball, sure, but there are overseas leagues with better competition and better pay. You're selling the Miami lifestyle, but players can vacation in Miami without committing to a full season. The value proposition only works if the star power is there, and right now it's not.
I'm not gonna say controversy, but some sort of rivalry and give us an actual reason to watch aren't even in the league this year. So I'm like, it's gonna be so hard to get into Unrivaled. It really is, because most of the biggest names aren't playing basketball right now. They're just not playing. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's genuinely a tough one for people that are watching that league, because let's be real. The hierarchy of women's basketball in terms of names.
Most of the biggest names aren't playing basketball right now. They're just not playing. It's genuinely a tough one for people that were watching that league. And here's where we need to talk about what this means for the future, because this isn't just about season 2. This is about whether Unrivaled can survive long enough to become sustainable. Every startup league goes through this phase where they have to prove they're worth the investment. The WNBA went through it, the XFL went through it multiple times, and the ones that survive are the ones that figure out how to build a fan base even when they can't afford every star they want. But here's Unrivaled's specific problem: they launched with star power in season 1, which set viewer expectations high, and now they're downgrading that star power in season 2, which means they're likely going to see viewership drop. And when viewership drops, sponsorship money decreases, which means they'll have even less budget for season 3 stars. It's a downward spiral that's really hard to escape once it starts. So what's the path forward? Because it's not all doom and gloom. Unrivaled still has options, they're just not easy ones. Option 1, they could take a financial hit and overpay for 1 or 2 major stars in season 3, basically operating at a loss to rebuild credibility. Option 2, they could pivot their marketing away from star power and toward the best pure basketball angle, which works if the product is genuinely elite. Option 3, and this is the nuclear option, they could merge with or get acquired by a bigger entity that has deeper pockets and better distribution. But here's what's fascinating. All 3 of those options require admitting that the current model isn't working, and startups are notoriously bad at admitting failure until it's too late. The investors who funded Unrivaled want to see growth, not retrenchment. The founders want to prove their vision works, and that pressure to show success often leads to doubling down on strategies that aren't working, which is exactly